day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever faced a moment in life where an obstacle just seemed impossible? A challenge so monumental, so overwhelming, that you just couldn't see a way through? Maybe it's a massive problem at work, a personal struggle, or even just feeling stuck. What if I told you there's an ancient story, a truly epic tale, that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter how big the barrier, God always makes a way? Today, we're diving into an incredible narrative from history, a jaw-dropping account of faith, power, and divine intervention that will seriously boost your belief in the impossible. Get ready to be inspired, because we're talking about the Israelites crossing the River Jordan. Imagine this. The Israelites, after 40 long years wandering in the desert, are finally on the brink of their promised land. They've seen God's miracles time and again, but now a new leader, Joshua, stands at the helm. The promised land is right there, within sight, but between them and their destiny lies a massive, raging river, the Jordan. Not just any river, mind you, but one at its absolute flood stage, overflowing its banks, a torrent of water that looked utterly impassable. For a nation of millions, with women, children, and livestock, crossing this seemed like a suicidal mission. What do you do when your greatest dream is separated by your greatest impossibility? You might think they'd be filled with dread, right? But God had a plan, and it was spectacular. Under Joshua's incredible leadership, the Israelites had camped right there, near the overflowing banks of the Jordan. You can almost feel the tension, the anticipation in the air. The desert journey was over, but this new, seemingly insurmountable hurdle stood before them. Joshua, however, wasn't leading based on his own strength or military strategy alone. He was listening to a higher command. The Lord had a very specific and quite surprising instruction for him. He told Joshua to have the priests, those entrusted with the most sacred duties, carry the Ark of the Covenant. And not just carry it, but lead the way right into the water. Now, for those who might not know, the Ark of the Covenant wasn't just a fancy box. It was the most sacred object in Israel, representing the very presence of God himself. It held the tablets of the Ten Commandments, a symbol of God's covenant with his people. So, when the Lord commanded that the ark lead the way, it wasn't just a logistical decision, it was a profound spiritual statement. It was a clear sign to everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, that the Lord himself was guiding them. He wasn't asking them to go where he wouldn't go. He was going ahead of them, paving the path, showing them that his presence was their ultimate assurance. Think about the sheer audacity of this command. The Jordan River was at its peak flood stage. We're talking about a formidable, roaring body of water. Anyone looking at it would say, absolutely impossible. It wasn't just wide, it was deep and fast. There were no bridges, no boats sufficient for a nation. This wasn't just a slight inconvenience. It was a natural barrier designed to stop them dead in their tracks. It was the kind of situation that would make anyone throw up their hands in defeat. But this wasn't about human capability, it was about divine power. So, the moment arrived, the priests, bearing the heavy, sacred Ark of the Covenant, stepped forward. Can you imagine their courage, their faith? They weren't waiting for the waters to part. They weren't looking for a sign from the river itself. Their instructions were clear: step into the water, and guess what happened? The very instant their feet, carrying the ark, touched the raging waters of the Jordan, something utterly miraculous occurred. The water, the massive, overflowing, impossible water, stopped flowing. It just stood still. This wasn't a slow receding of the tide or a gradual lowering of the water level. The Bible describes it as the water standing up in a heap far away at a town called Adam. Meanwhile, the waters flowing downstream from that point were completely cut off, emptying out into the Dead Sea. The riverbed, where moments before a torrent had raged, became completely dry ground. Can you even picture this? A massive wall of water held back by an unseen force, while millions of people walked across what was once the impassable Jordan. It's a testament to a power beyond our comprehension. This wasn't some natural phenomenon. This was the direct, undeniable intervention of an all-powerful God. And so, the entire nation of Israel, a multitude of people, crossed over the Jordan on dry ground. Picture the scene: families, children, the elderly, all walking across the riverbed with the priests still standing firm right in the middle, holding the ark until every single person had reached the other side. They weren't just escaping danger, they were stepping into their destiny. They were entering the promised land, not with a whimper, but with an epic, undeniable demonstration of God's power. It must have been an awe-inspiring sight, a moment etched into the memory of every man, woman, and child present. To ensure this incredible event was never forgotten, Joshua commanded one man from each of the 12 tribes to take a stone from the dry riverbed of the Jordan. These stones weren't just ordinary rocks. They were tangible reminders of an impossible miracle. They were to build a memorial at Gilgal, a place where future generations would see them, ask about them, and hear the story of how God miraculously parted the Jordan River. These stones would serve as a lasting testament, a visual sermon for all time, reminding them that God always keeps his promises and always makes a way. This extraordinary day wasn't just about the Israelites crossing the river. It was also about God confirming his chosen leader. That day, God exalted Joshua in the eyes of all Israel. He showed everyone that Joshua was indeed Moses' successor, a leader chosen and empowered by him. It solidified Joshua's authority and prepared the people to follow him into the challenges that lay ahead in conquering the promised land. It was a powerful affirmation, not just for Joshua, but for the entire nation, reinforcing their faith in God's guidance through their new leader. The 12 stones of remembrance at Gilgal weren't just a pile of rocks. They were a memorial of faith. They served as a lasting reminder of God's awesome power and his unwavering faithfulness. For generations to come, when children would ask their parents, "What do these stones mean?" they would hear the incredible story of the Jordan. They would learn that no matter how impossible a situation looks, God is greater than any obstacle. He can part rivers, make a path through the wilderness, and lead his people to victory. So, what does this ancient story mean for us today? It means that no matter what Jordan River you might be facing in your own life, whether it is a financial crisis, a health struggle, a broken relationship, or a daunting goal, God is still the same God who parted the waters. He is still able to make a way where there seems to be no way. When you feel overwhelmed, remember the priests stepping into the flood stage Jordan, not knowing exactly how it would happen, but trusting in God's command. Your Ark of the Covenant today is your faith, your trust in God's presence and his promises. Just like the Israelites, we are often called to step out in faith before we see the full solution. We are called to trust that God goes before us, making the impossible possible. The story of the Jordan crossing is a powerful reminder that with God, no obstacle is too big, no river too wide, no problem too complex. He is the waymaker, and he is faithful to lead us through to our own promised lands. If you've been encouraged by this story, please hit that like button, subscribe for more inspiring content, and share this video with someone who might be facing their own Jordan River today. Let's spread the message that God always makes a way. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.